And you know what I think it is? And I think it's a pretty good comp. This is going to be the New England Seahawks Super Bowl. Remember that? The Seahawks, like the Eagles, had the stacked roster. In fact, when people talk about Philadelphia's roster, they say it's the best since Seattle. You talk to Tom Brady about that Seahawk roster. I've talked to him on this show, and he's like, there were no weaknesses. Everybody was great. Safeties, corners, edge rushers, defensive tackles. There were no weaknesses. There were no flaws. That's Philadelphia. But the quarterback, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, little small, mobile, is he an all-timer? No. New England is Kansas City. Iconic coach, maybe the greatest quarterback of all time, second best roster, but they always win close games. Anytime a game is close, anytime it could go either way, anytime it's a big third down. It was Brady and the Patriots, it's Mahomes in Kansas City to win that game. And I want to talk about this because I think this is going to be a chess match. And I think one of the chess matches is going to be between Mahomes and Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for Philadelphia, who, by the way, Mahomes is 8-0 against. Every quarterback in the league struggles with Vic Fangio, except maybe Josh Allen, and except maybe Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Guys, we have to stop with this Fangio nonsense. We just have to stop. First off, I am not saying that Mahomes is going to struggle with Fangio. I'm not saying that Mahomes isn't going to play great against the Philadelphia Eagles. But to keep using this 8-0 Fangio nonsense, they're talking about when he was with the Broncos and when he was with Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins had a trash defense. The players literally didn't want to be coached. They were complaining that Fangio coached too hard. So throw that out the door, okay? That's that. Not to mention, Tua was the quarterback. And if you remember that game, they played, I think they were like overseas or something. I think they were in London or something. Then the other games were with Fangio were when he was the head coach with the Denver Broncos, where 2 of those seasons, he had awful defenses. The one year, it was like the 24th ranked defense or something or in that range. And his quarterbacks were old, retiring Joe Flacco and Drew Lock. So can we stop? Can we put things in context? Like what are we saying? The one game, there was like 3 turnovers. I mean, like, it's just right now you're expecting Fangio to be able to beat Patrick Mahomes with Drew Lock and like the 28th ranked defense or something, in that range. Sure. That almost makes sense. That almost makes sense while facing Mahomes when he's like with Pete Kelsey, Pete Tyreek Hill. Like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Just so absurd. It really is. And again, I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes isn't going to feast or, not have an awesome Super Bowl. Like, I'm not out here being like, that's all misleading. Fangio's actually going to dominate him. Like, that's not what I'm saying either. But stop saying this whole 8-0 like it means anything. It really means 100% nothing. Nothing. It's just so absurd at this point. It really is. If Fangio, if this was like a Mike Tomlin situation with Lamar Jackson, where Mike Tomlin has the defense that he wants and he's been the coach for years and years and years and he keeps facing Lamar Jackson, then I could say, okay, there's some truth to that. I still push back on some of those narratives, but I could say that there's still some truth to that. But like, what? You're having Fangio take over a terrible team, hence why the coach was fired? The defense is in disarray, no quarterback. You're dealing with like Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, like, and you want him to what? Be like 3-3, 4-2, 6-0. Like what are you saying? And then he goes to Miami with Tua, who Colin thinks is not a good quarterback, and we know that defense literally tried to like revolt against Fangio to the point where like Nick was like, Miami Dolphins can't get rid of Fangio fast enough. He's not going to be a good coach. And then, like, look what he did with the Philadelphia Eagles. They now have the #1 defense in the NFL. Yeah, okay. So just like, you know, we gotta tell the whole story. So it's just frustrating. And even the comparison to the Seattle Seahawks and Patriots Super Bowl, I don't know how accurate that is. I can see some of the similarities, and I get it. One, people thought Russell Wilson was like the next big thing. First off, people were praising him, and Colin's like, is he an all-time great? No, but like back then, everyone was acting like this guy is a bona fide, undeniable Hall of Famer. That's number one. Number two, they had already won a Super Bowl the year before. They were the reigning champs, and their defense now had a ton of experience, right? The whole Legion of Boom and all that, like they had the experience. That's not, this Eagles defense is very young. A lot of rookies or players that were like moved into positions that they had not played before with a new defensive coordinator. Like there was a lot more continuity for the Seattle Seahawks. I understand this Philadelphia Eagles team went to the Super Bowl in 22, but like this is new coaching staff, a ton of new players. There's really, at the end of the day, there's actually really only a handful of players, specifically offensively, that were in that Super Bowl. But this defense is brand new. You know, I mean, Cooper DeJean, Mitchell, Jalen Carter. You know, like there's obviously some, but then again, a completely defensive coach. Pete Carroll was the defensive head coach for that team. He was in the Super Bowl the year before. So like, and all that stuff matters. I mean, it really does. Experience matters. So again, I get some of the comparisons, but it's just like, you know, again, make no mistake about it. People were acting like Russell Wilson was Patrick Mahomes. He was supposed to be essentially Patrick Mahomes, who Patrick Mahomes is today. I mean, it was just, think about what he garnered in terms of going to the Broncos. It was this massive deal that people did not think was a bad deal. They did not think was a bad deal. The whole let Russ cook, all that type of stuff. Like Russ was king. Making no mistake about it. Now, obviously, as the years gone on, people are like, I don't know. He's kind of a fringe Hall of Famer. 4 years ago, no one saw it as that. People were like, oh yeah. Like, you know, everybody wanted to like kind of, you know, figure out if they could get Russ. There was real, if you remember, there was real conversations. The Eagles, the Dolphins, you know, potentially even the Ravens. Like it was a real conversation for all these teams being like, hey, Russ is available. So, you know, I think we just have to put things in context here. They didn't see Russ as a liability. People are claiming Jalen Hurts is a liability. People are saying if the Eagles had a better quarterback, you know, it's game, set, match. People weren't necessarily saying that about Russ. If the Seahawks, when the Seahawks lost that Super Bowl, yeah, Russ got some blame, but like not really. It was really all on Pete Carroll. Why didn't you hand the ball off? Why didn't you hand the ball off? Granted, Sirianni is kind of like a lightning rod for attention as well, but it feels like it would be more split. Like Sirianni would get a lot of criticism for like not handing the ball off to Saquon Barkley, but also people would be blaming Jalen Hurts. You know, like I could definitely see that, because I see how they blame Josh Allen against against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bill, for the Buffalo Bills. So, but it feels like, for the most part, Russ was kind of really protected from any criticism back then. But I do see the similarities. Quarterbacks you can say are similar in a way. The defense is great. You have a beast of a running back, beast mode to Saquon. So I get the similarities. I do, but I think it can't be understated that team had already won a Super Bowl. They were looking to repeat. That really truly does matter. That truly does matter. And again, the continuity of the coaching, et cetera, et cetera. So on the surface, sure, we can say that there's a lot of similarities, but when you kind of zoom in a little bit, you're like, all right, this kind of looked better further away from when I went. You looked really good, and then you took your sunglasses off, and I was like, oh, never mind. Nice meeting you. And then I'm going to go. So, but we'll see. We'll see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs and how it's kind of like a comparison to the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots, as well as Fangio being 0-8 versus Patrick Mahomes? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.